Welcome back. I'm Tedward. Welcome to my 2023 Lexus GX460. Welcome to Buffalo, New York, and welcome to Tim Hortons. I'm literally sitting outside of Timmy's right now. This is my first Tim Hortons coffee. We don't really have many of these in the United States. It's a very Canadian thing, which is why you always see the straight pipes do their little Timmy test to see if they can fit a cup of Timmy's in the cup holder. I guess it passes the test. It's a little sketchy, but whatever. We've got a Yeti just in case. So let's start it up. Something about regular, mostly analog gauges in this car really does the trick for me, man. I am just such a fan. It's funny because it's like, I feel like I put my money where my mouth is with this car because I'm always saying I want buttons. I don't necessarily want touchscreens for everything, and this car pretty much delivers on all that because the only touchscreen is for the infotainment system, and I have finally peeled off the plastic. I do love this car, but because I'm in Buffalo, New York, that means that I am 440 miles away from home, and I wanted to show you what it's like to drive this car a reasonable distance. I mean, yeah, that's not a cross-country road trip, but 6 hours, 11 minutes, 441 miles till I'm home. Let's get this show on the road. Camera's a little dirty just because I have very much not respected the salt and snow in this drive. Open this guy for a little extra light. But man, it has been fantastic. When I got to Buffalo, the roads were packed with snow, just snow, nothing else. And look at this. I mean, can I, that's a one-way. I gotta go this way anyway. Otherwise I would have gone through there because that would have been fun. But yeah, the roads were just completely packed with snow. By Timmy's, I was very impressed with Tim Hortons. They've got like an actual espresso machine in there. Yes. Cool. Delaware Ave, Franklin Street, Edward Street. I think I just need to go down this way. So we're going to do that and hopefully not block an ambulance. Good deal. If I'm going the wrong way, so be it. And we'll be wrong because I'm like always wrong on the first turn of every Waze trip. It's like a thing I do. But the GX was a complete champ in the snow, even on these like dueler all seasons. They're not the highest rated tires for a lot of things actually, but they do the job. And I did try to like break it loose and play with it a little bit in the snow. We'll do more of that in the future, or we try to get this thing to slide. But like honestly, it is taking more effort than I was willing to put into it with a not yet broken in engine. And I've got my heated steering wheel, which I forgot to turn on. I just think this is the ideal cruiser for me because when I drove the 440 miles here the other day, I got here feeling pretty refreshed. The seat's comfortable, the car is comfortable, everything just feels like first class. You know, it's the difference between flying coach and first class. Sometimes, you know, you fly coach on like an 8-hour flight and it's a rough go when you get there. And this car does feel like you flew first class and you're like, oh, I'm oddly refreshed. This is fine. All right, now we can. Great turning radius. It allows you to play with traffic and it allows you to park, like seriously park. It's pretty great. But we were in Dana's car, his Volvo C30, which is a phenomenal car. It's formidable for pretty much all these conditions. It's just that it's a little low. He has it on the correct tires, on WS90s, the Blizzaks. But it doesn't love to hit all the potholes in this city. The roads are rough here. So the GX460 makes it so you don't feel like you're shattering your teeth or breaking your car every time you go anywhere. For fuel economy on the way here, it was, let's say, dismal. I was fighting a headwind heading west, and we're also braking in this engine. Typically the first bit of a brand new car, the first 1,000 miles, you'll get the worst fuel economy out of the car. I don't know why. I guess everything's just kind of seating. It's just my experience and kind of what I've heard, but that's the deal. I was getting like 16.8, 16.9 mpg. In the previous GXs that I've had, I know I've been able to get out like 20, and it's rated for 19 highway, but it can do better. It can do better. I would move over to the right lane, but I've already got a guy blowing that up. So we're not gonna cause any trouble. You'd be surprised. I thought that all the Buffalo people would be like expert snow drivers and like clean off their cars. They do not care. They do not clean off their cars. It's been a couple days since there was like real snow, so right now it looks pretty good. But yeah, I was pretty shocked. I thought that they were gonna actually look at this school bus. Okay, here's a good example. Full on school bus with like a foot of snow on the roof. Yikes. Straight through my windshield if that falls. Heated seats in this car, fantastic. These are really good heated seats. They warm up so quick, and the best thing is that they're on these little scrolly wheels, which are so old school. You don't have to like scroll through buttons to be like, oh, I want setting 1, 2, 3. You just slam it into where you want. It's perfect. I'm actually good on that. Once this Timmy's cools down, we'll have a sip of that. But Buffalo, I gotta say, Buffalo's got more to offer than I thought. I was getting all these reports that Buffalo was very boring, that Buffalo was like not the place to be. I'm starting to understand why people come here, because in the little that I saw in the last couple days, I was really impressed with the food scene. There's a lot of food, not like crazy gourmet food, but like good, like American fare. Like you want like wings and a burger, obviously wings in Buffalo. Yes, this is where they're from. There's a good bar scene. And because this is a football town, because everybody is a Bills fan, like people go nuts. In fact, in the grocery store during a Bills game, they were playing the game over the sound system. Like I live in Boston. We're like, Red Sox Patriots people. I've never heard that in my life. I have never heard a sporting event getting played in like a Market Basket or a Whole Foods. Like that's not a thing. Whereas here, this is life. So I have 438 miles to go, 6 hours, 5 minutes. I am gonna basically drive on one single road home. It's I-90. Once we get into Massachusetts, I-90 is called the Mass Pike. And then we're pretty much home. So I'm gonna catch up with you in a little bit, tell you how I'm feeling, tell you how the car's going, and looks like they've already had an off. Yikes. Well, glad I'm not commuting in that direction. Fingers crossed we don't have to experience any of that on the way home. You've joined me almost 200 miles into this trip. Honestly, you're never solo in the GX when you have Mark Levinson riding shotgun, because the sound system in this is so good. Now, I do have to qualify this because for having such a great sound system, I listen to just podcasts. So I've been sitting here listening to like Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend and How Did This Get Made, and not enjoying the full body volume and richness of this sound system. But it is really comforting because the car's so quiet and insulated. I think these are dual pane glass. It's a nice quiet place to be. And let me open this up for a little extra light on the dashboard. This is something that I didn't get in the 4Runner. We rented a 4Runner when we went down to meet Eddie, David, and Corey. Went down to Busch Gardens to hang out with our friends Devin, Diane, Bree, and Ben. You know Ben Lynn from Gears and Gasolines, and you know Devin from the Backseat Drivers podcast with Eddie. Anyway, we rented a 4Runner. It was a TRD off-road, and oh man, I don't want to be mean, but like it just felt like junk. Like they're so capable. Don't get me wrong, I love a 4Runner, but in the year 2023 when we were driving it, my goodness, did that thing feel dated, old, clunky, awkward, very bizarre. Now that I have 787 miles on this GX, my third GX in the last month and a half, I'm so happy. I love this truck. I love this thing. And you know what? I'm going to call it a truck. It's a body-on-frame thing. Yes, it's an SUV. It's a 3-row SUV, but you could still tow 6,500 or 6,600 pounds with it. You probably wouldn't want to, but you could. But it is a truck underneath, and that's what I like about it. This is why I didn't wait for the new one, because the new one's great. I think the new GX550 is going to be a good thing. I wanted the old thing. I want the thing that's supposed to be bulletproof, that everybody has this cult following around. And it's funny, in some reviews I've watched, they have the nerve, the gall, if you will, to comment negatively on this cruise control stock. This is the best cruise control stock in the business, man. I'm so sick of buttons on steering wheels. I mean, Honda does an okay job because it's just a quick set up down thing with a cancel button. Don't mind that, but this cruise control stock is so good and I love it. But there's something more important on this drive that we need to discuss. and it's Tim Hortons. It's Timmy's. I picked up this Timmy's on my way out of Buffalo. It was the first thing I did. I went to the wrong Tim Hortons first because I plugged into my Waze and it took me to a hospital because I guess there's a Timmy's in the hospital. But now I'm going to suck down this Timmy's. Maybe that's not the way to say it. And we're going to rate it. So, Tim Hortons. I don't know if I get it. It's not great coffee. It's fine. It's drinkable. It tastes a little too strong. Like it tastes, and I'm a fan of strong coffee. It just tastes like it was brewed a little extra strong. And maybe that's their thing. Maybe it's that, like, you know, Dunkin' Donuts kind of has a reputation for being weak, and Starbucks has a reputation for tasting a little burned because it's a very dark roast, their Pike Place roast and that thing. But yeah, Timmy's, it's like too strong of a not great coffee. So it's like more of a mediocre thing does not make for a better thing. But it's fine. I get it. The taste of Canada. Okay. I can't believe that I'm like, I actually prefer Dunkin' Donuts to Timmy's, but here we are. I guess I am an actual Mass boy. I am a Masshole. I am a Bostonian of sorts. I guess I haven't lived in Boston for a few years, but isn't that the thing? And everyone who lives near or within 50 miles of Boston goes, yeah, I'm from Boston, and they have a wicked thick accent. And then the reality is, like, they grew up where I grew up in a farm town and went to Boston, like, to go see the Nutcracker at the Wang Theater. That's true. The Wang Theater. Okay, well, let's get into the car. What are we doing here? So I've been on the road since like 8 a.m., 8:15, and it's 11 a.m. now. We've driven quite a few miles. I have no complaints about this vehicle. I love this GX460. This is why I went through the miserable hassle of dealing with the vibrations of my second vehicle. And I'm thrilled that they replaced it for me. So, hey, shout out to Lexus Watertown. Go see Kevin Silva. He's going to hook you up. I got to make sure I shout these people out because they did me right. They did me right. I'm in the truck I wanted. I'm in the truck of my dreams. I'm very, very happy. Infotainment Center. Love it. Super easy to use. And you know what? I kind of made fun of this like Lexus touchpad in the past. I don't think I'm going to make fun of it anymore. You know why? Because I can hit the map button down here. Because sometimes it's awkward to use Waze and actually see where you are. It's like oriented strange, and you just want to get an idea of like, hey, I started here, and I've got to get here, but I see where I am, and I love that. I love being able to very quickly check that out. Now, the beauty of this is that you can use two fingers and pinch in like it's an iPhone down here. So I have so much control over all of this. I've just passed Syracuse a few miles back, but this is just such a beautiful thing to be able to do. I really like this. And I'm just cruising on the Pike. I'm adjusting my speed occasionally because I am braking in this vehicle. We've got almost 800 miles on it, so we're probably broken in by 600, but hey. I'm playing with my speed. I'm getting filthy and salty. I did fuel up, and I wiped down with the little squeegee guy, the rear and front glass. I didn't do that corner, though. I don't use that corner. I don't need to see out of that corner. We're good. Happy vehicle. I'm going to get to close to home, and I'm going to go and just hose the dang thing off before I even go home. I think we'll do that in the video, I think. We'll bring it to the car wash, the self-serve car wash, and just blast as much salt off of the paint, off of the little crevasses of this vehicle and on the frame. And then at some point I'll bring it over to Garage 42 and Ryan will like really go through it and give it a proper bath. But this is my winter vehicle. I own this because I gotta save that Honda, gotta save that FL5 from the troubles and misery of winter driving. But I have to say, even just cruising, even if there was no salt on the road, one of the benefits of this vehicle is that I've got lots of sidewall. I've got 18-inch wheels. I've got big chunky tires. They're not like off-road, Destination XTs or MT2s or anything like that, but they're a dueler all season, and they absorb things well enough. They're quiet enough on the highway. This truck, unlike the 4Runner, is much more insulated, so I don't hear a whole lot going on outside, and I'm just a happy guy. This is cruising first class. This is what I wanted, because when I'm driving on the highway long distances, I gotta tell you, I'm not like a speeder. You may think I am. You may think like, Tedward's that guy that's doing 150 miles an hour everywhere. Nah, pretty rare, because I need to keep my license. This is my job, you know. I gotta have the credentials and the legality to get out on the road in all those classics and brand new cars, and I can't be out there getting tickets all the time. Steering, inputs, all the things about this truck, pretty easy on the highway. I've got one hand down here. I mistakenly, in the first GX video, when I first got the first car, I said, oh, it's leather and this plasticky, you know, it's not plastic. It is wood. It's wood. Sorry, guys. I'm sorry. And, you know, this isn't actually leather. It's not real leather. It's a synthetic, and it's fine. But, like, I don't get so caught up in all this stuff, man, because this was a deal, a bargain. I paid under $60,000 for this vehicle. Its MSRP was over $65,000, almost $66,000. So I'm just gonna, I got a screaming deal. I'm a happy guy, and sorry, I'm not PTSRS. I don't know every single detail of every vehicle. I'm not gonna be able to tell you the deviated stitching color. I mean, it's red. Okay, it's red. That's all I know. I'm the guy. Oh, Can-Am fam. Okay, so they must have Can-Ams. Good for them. I'm the guy that's going to tell you what it's like and if it's enjoyable to drive a vehicle. If you want to go deep dive on specs and garage queen stuff, like, by all means, have at it. But I'm not an idiot just because I mistakenly said leather and said this is plasticky. It is plasticky. I know it's wood, but if they made this out of plastic, it's just like, I honestly wouldn't notice. Fuel economy. All right, so for the last 25 minutes of being on the highway, I just filled up at a rest stop. 18.4 miles per gallon. I was getting 19 to 19.3. We're doing better than we were on the way into Buffalo, that's for sure. But again, I'm driving a little faster than I had been, and we're doing all right. So I don't mind this fuel economy. Like, is it bad? Sure. But relative to what? The new GX4 or 550, I gotta get used to that. The new GX is gonna get like 2 miles per gallon better or something. We have to test that. I will test that, and we'll be very aware of how much better or worse it is. But what's happening is the vehicles are getting bigger, heavier. I mean, I think the off-road package on the 550 has like 33-inch wheels and tires. That's big. That's like off-road stuff. If I put that on this, if we did apples to apples, I'd probably be getting like 14 miles per gallon or less. It's not going to be pretty if I put some big off-roader tire on the thing. But even though they've gone and, you know, modernized the thing, it's not like it's getting 30. It's not getting even 25. So I'm okay with this getting under 20 miles per gallon, because the way I use it, it's like, well, you got to pay for good service, you know? If you want first class, you got to pay for that first class. And every time I pass a truck, I'm like thrilled I'm not in the Honda. The Honda actually is a loud vehicle. My Type R is not very well insulated. I think Savage Geese might have done like a sound study for interior noise for highway speeds. I mean, obviously that's going to vary on different road surfaces, but on average, that is a loud vehicle. It's not, even if you put a great sound system in the Civic Type R, it like wouldn't matter. You'd have to blast it. You'd probably damage your ears just by trying to get your sound system to overcome the road noise in that vehicle. Not the best. And that's one of the reasons I'm not like, well, I don't really want to drive this thing hundreds of miles at a time. That's why I have an M5. My E39 M5 is going to be great for this journey in the spring and summer when I don't have to worry about the road salt. The only thing is that I can hit all the bumps. This road right now on 90 has been okay, but there are bumps. There are sometimes unexpected craters because of plows just blasting through. They tear things up, and it's hard to know where it is. Waze is not always going to show you exactly what's going on if someone hasn't reported one of these like big old pothole craters. So it can be tricky, but what's nice is like I've got a spare tire in this as well, which means that even if I hit something so enormous, or I hit, you know, a chain that tears through a tread and obliterates a tire, I do have the opportunity to stop, pull over, jack the car up, and put a spare tire on it. I don't have that opportunity on the Honda because I don't have spare tires. They do not come with that. That is annoying. I do not like inflation kits with the goo, and the goo doesn't always work. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've had people say like, oh yeah, I put in the goo and it still didn't hold air. I do love, man, they've got like, New York has really good rest stops. These are nice, clean, safe feeling rest stops, and they got good food. There's a couple of them that have Shake Shacks, and I feel like, oof, beautiful. That's what you want. You want a Shake Shack burger. A little expensive. $10 for a burger, and you gotta pay extra for fries. I don't know about that. This is my least favorite thing though, is behind the tractor trailers and just blasting salt. Okay, one complaint I have about this particular vehicle. The brakes. Brakes on GXs are not great, but there's something that my third vehicle does that my other ones didn't, and it's like, I get into the brakes a little bit, and it like does nothing, and then sort of grabs. And it's a little weird. And it only does it if you've not touched the brakes for a little while. It's possible that I just need to break the brakes in a little bit more. I haven't really used the brakes very much in this vehicle. Oh, that's so disgusting. I'm so sorry, Lexus. Ugh. But hey, that's why I bought this, to be a very expensive beater. In a Lexus, and I think any Toyota products, if you have the navigation system, when you cross a state line, a lovely voice comes on and tells you. So here we go. Welcome to Massachusetts. We'll give her a second and she'll tell us.
Welcome to Massachusetts.
400 miles down. I have 1,018 miles on the truck now, and I'm a happy guy. Let's just talk about comfort level. Driving for 6 hours in a lot of cars can be a real nightmare. It can mess up your back. It's not the best thing in the world. You can have uncomfortable surfaces. This has great spaces for your armrests on both sides. I have the seat kind of as low as it can go, which is in a good spot. It could go a little lower, but we're good. I have nice padded surfaces over here for my knees, and I know that sounds insane. You're like, well, who cares? You really, but the reality is, like, especially if you're in shorts or whatever, if you are resting your leg against something that is hard or uncomfortable, after a long time, it does start to wear on you, and it will start to become uncomfortable. This is not. This seat is pretty good. The one thing I'm bummed about is it has lumbar support, which is good. There's a switch here and I can adjust it, and that's great. I do just wish that I could raise and lower the lumbar support a little bit. For me, it's actually in the right spot, and it kind of encourages me to sit with reasonable posture, because the problem is if you start to slouch or get wonky with it, that means that the lumbar is going to be in the wrong place. And so it does encourage me to just sit properly rather than, slouch and then end up moving the lumbar support. But now we're almost done. I'm going to jump onto my local highway, 495, in 20 miles, and we're going to conclude the video by cleaning this thing off. You haven't seen outside the vehicle yet. It's caked in salt, like crystals this thick along the side of the car. So we're just going to take a power washer to it and do our best to at least get some of the surfacey stuff off of it, remove some of that corrosive junk from the frame. All right, let's have a little look-see at the damage of the Lexus. Yes, lots of salt and grime all through here. I'm looking forward to seeing how much of this we can get off. Not the shiny black grille that it used to be. Pretty nasty. And these are black wheels. These are supposed to be black. Now they are caked in salt. So let's see if we can't get most of this off the truck. Definitely not as powerful as the power washer I used at home. That's all right though. We'll do a little layer of soap. See if we can't get some of the basic stuff off. This is not a full wash. This is just gonna be... Ugh. I wish I had my power washer. I'd say that's $7 well spent. I'm done with this road trip. I need to go get some real food. Oh my goodness, I'm starving. So that is the inaugural journey of my Lexus GX460 number 3. I am so excited that I have this thing. I'm still glad that I bought it, although it was a bit of a mess getting to this point. We are here and I'm just happy to be driving. So thank you guys so much for watching, liking, commenting, and subscribing. I'm gonna drive really slow out of this because I feel like most people crash their cars right after they wash them. I won't call that a wash, but it certainly was a rinse, enough of a rinse to make me feel like we got the job done. Thank you guys so much for watching, liking, commenting, and subscribing. Don't forget to respect the drive, and I'll see you in the next one.